up, dudes? HW here. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I got a really wonderful amp, and that's one of my great joys of like guitar playing is going and discovering just like a really cool piece of history. And I've actually got it back there, but I got a picture for you too. It's just it's a 67 Bassman. And then you notice it's got a little mid knob, and then you kind of like start looking under the hood there. And I actually bought this thing from a pro player named Jimmy Lyons, and he played for Eddie Money, and he played the the solo on Two Tickets to Paradise, and he's on a bunch of that Eddie Money stuff. And this is an old amp that he owned, and it's a piece of history in its own right because it is modified by Prune Music. And if you don't know about Prune Music, it's an interesting story. Before Mesa Boogie, Randall Smith, who is the founder of Mesa Boogie, worked at a store. He actually founded a store in Berkeley, California called Prune Music. And they were a music store. And they started modifying amplifiers in the late 60s when they saw that these Bay Area bands had a need for, just kind of more rockin' type amps and stuff, right? So he starts modifying some of these things, and ultimately, some of the more famous modifications that he made at Prune Music, Prune Music was in Berkeley, and then it moved to Mill Valley, and eventually he left Prune Music, gave up his ownership there, or sold it, and he started Mesa Boogie. But it was at Prune Music that Randall started modifying these amps. So you can actually find Prune Music Fenders that are modified like this one. They're pretty rare. But sometimes you can find ones that are, what you can see is an early predecessor of the Mark I. The modified Princetons that he started making for Santana and for other people, but who Santana famously said, wow, that little amp can boogie. And then Randall thought, I'm going to do this company and name it Mesa Boogie. So I'm not sure if that original Princeton was a Prune Music Princeton that he made at Prune, or whether it was one he made later once he was already trying to start an amp company, and that just helped him come up with the name, or what. But I stumbled upon this amp, and I saw it for sale for way too little money for what it is. And hey, when you've been doing this 10 years, you find some good finds sometimes. And I must have 50 very odd searches that I search on Reverb, and usually they yield nothing. But Prune Music is one of the ones I've been searching for years, and very few things ever come up for it. Ever. Most people don't even know about Prune Music. And so this is a really great amp. So here I was playing at the top there. You can hear it. I have a little tube screamer on there, but let me take it off so you can hear it. Here's channel 1. And what they did basically is they took the first channel, the bass channel, and basically it was made into something like a brown face Fender. They kind of just gave it a little more gain. It's got an extra preamp tube in this amp. It's got different power tubes. There's some changes inside. It's got a different output transformer. Channel 2 is more like a plexi, and I'll show you that. And then I created a channel 3 where I just really changed the mid range, and I used a mic pre. I changed the mic pre and used a little post amp EQ to make channel 3, just so you get channel 1, channel 2, and then you kind of get channel 2 with kind of a different flavor. So here is channel 1. Sounds like this. So to me, just a beautiful, Fendery, lovely, kind of buttery clean. And if you want to warm it up a little. that's no boost or whatever. That's nothing really on there. So if you turn on a little tube screamer, I mean, just what a lovely sound and tone that is. And you can get a little breakup on channel 1. And so that's really lovely. Now, if you want to go to channel 3, you want to get the most gain possible on channel 1. That's no pedals or anything like that. That's just 1-3-67 PM BM. Is that a good name? I don't think so. Prune Music Bassman. I wanted to put Prune Music in there, but I didn't want to put Prune. People are like, what the hell is Prune? You know what I mean? But I mean, it's just a great sound, you know? It's just got a really nice organic kind of amp sound, and I really dig it. Now, if I switch it up to the Marshall channel, this is really one I like. Okay, so 2-2 is the Marshall channel, and there's a clean, and there's a clean and a not clean, right? So here's 2-1, here's clean, you know. Put a little loop on this. just that is just a cool. That's a fun. That's fun, man. That's fun. When it's that fun, it's fun. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to go to the dirtier one, you just go up, and this is where I really feel like it comes alive. Where I really feel like it comes alive is 2-2, because then you start to get the real, just come on, man. Woo, I like it. I like it on the bridge. It's just a Marshall with attitude, you know what I mean? Put a little tube screamer on that. Come on. It's a very cool kind of Marshall-y, Fender-y. It's somewhere in this neighborhood of like, is it a black face Fender? No. Is it brown face? Yes. Is it 18-watt Marshall-y? Kind of, yes. Is it starting to get plexi-ish? Yes. And that's what interests me about it. Now, if you go up even further... That's why I love amps, man. They're all just so different. They're so different, and a lot of times, you kind of judge a book by its cover, right? But when an amp just looks like a Bassman, but then it has all this other flexibility in it. Here's 3-2, So here's a little different voice. Just a lovely, warm, much warmer type kind of thing, and that really gives you the ability to just, kind of... Yeah. Lovely. I'll have this out in a couple days. This isn't even really meant to be a demo. It's just, I think sometimes, I've had people say to me over the years, HW, aren't you going to run out of AC30s to profile, Aren't you going to run out of, amps to, copy the tone and put it in digital stuff? And I love that I believe the answer is no, right? It's because music and rock and roll history is so, like, just filled with cool stories and cool amps like this that, have you ever played a Prune Music Bassman? Now you can. You probably haven't unless you knew about Prune music in the late 60s and 70s or someone told you about it later on. But it's one of those like short-lived little pieces of rock and roll history, before Mesa Boogie, before Randall Smith decided to get into the modifying amp game. It was a music store. And he repaired amps and sold amps and did stuff for not even this big world of guitarists and YouTube players, but for musicians. And Randall's got a really cool channel right now too, and so check him out. But he's telling some cool stories over there. Anyway, I think I'm partial to. I'm not sure if I like channel 2 or channel 3 better, but I like even channel 1. They're all good. That's when like it's great. When they're all good. You know what I'm saying? Here's, I'll play us out on this. I'm going to play the little Marshall-y kind of thing, the Channel 2 Marshall, because I just think it's such an honest rock and roll sound. You know what I mean? I have an HW.